Hello, I am reading from an old King James. I'm in the master bedroom. The kids are playing. I have to go to a doctor's appointment soon. That garbage man left everyone's garbage cans tipped over. I'll show you at the end. And there's a couch. Cool. Okay. On Monday we left Acts 24 where Felix was expecting Paul to pay him off to get him free, but Paul didn't do that. And now there's a new guy in charge, Festus. Now, when Festus was come into the province after 3 days, he ascended from Caesarea to Jerusalem. Now remember, in 24, was it 24? Where they rescued Paul from Jerusalem and took him to Caesarea. Is it Caesarea? Yeah, Caesarea. Then the high priest and the chief of the Jews informed him against Paul and besought him and desired favor against him, that he would send him to Jerusalem, laying wait in the way to kill him. So what's happening is the high priest and the chief of the Jews wanted Festus to bring Paul back to Jerusalem so that they could just ambush him and kill him. And desired favor against him, that he would send for him to Jerusalem, laying wait in the way to kill him. But Festus answered that Paul should... I'm getting texts. But Festus answered that Paul should be kept at Caesarea and that he himself would depart shortly thither. So the plan was foiled, and it's been 2 years at this point, and they still want Paul dead. So this new guy is in charge, and they didn't just decide, it's been 2 years, right? They still passionately want Paul to be persecuted. He would have a fair trial. And that's why Paul is wanting to stay in Caesarea, later we'll see, because Paul knows that he has a chance at a fair trial in Caesarea, whereas in Jerusalem, he'd probably be killed. What are you looking for, Bear? Oh, you hanging it? It's cute. Thank you, baby. And when he had tarried among them more than 10 days, he went down into Caesarea, and the next day, sitting on the judgment seat, commanded Paul to be brought. So 2 Corinthians 5:10 tells us we're going to sit at a judgment seat. Where's 5:10? For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that everyone may receive the things done in his body, according to that he hath done, whether it be good or bad. So it's enough, right? Jesus' blood is enough, and he saves us. We go to heaven. But that doesn't mean that after we're saved, we can just go about our life willy-nilly. I mean, you can, but it says here, we're still going to be judged according to everything we did. You cannot be saved by your works, but that's not to say your works don't matter. They do. So give your life to God and do everything you can for his kingdom while you're here on earth, because eternity, it's not like you get a do-over. It's not like you get to heaven and you're like, oh, so this was for real. Let me go do some more stuff for humanity so that I can have a better life here in eternity in heaven with you. No, doesn't work like that. This is your one shot. And it's crazy how hard people will go for the things of this earth. They'll work overtime, get a second job, do everything they can to have good things here on earth, but they don't even work for eternity. Yes, baby.
I found my sea creature.
I'm glad you found your sea creature.
It's a snake.
I like your pants and your shirt. It's a cute outfit. So as hard as you work for things of this world, work even harder, because this world ends. Why would you work harder for something that ends and you don't hardly pay attention to a thing that's going to last literally forever and ever and ever and ever? Eternity, right? So anyhow, Paul's at the judgment seat.
Beep, beep.
Beep, beep.
Copy, beep. Copy, beep.
So the Jews came down from Jerusalem and complained against Paul, and then he answered for himself. Neither against the laws of the Jews, neither the temple, nor yet against Caesar have I offended anything at all. So Paul is saying, I haven't done anything wrong. But Festus, willing to do the Jews a favor, answered Paul and said, Wilt thou go up to Jerusalem there and be judged of these things before me? And then Paul said, I stand at Caesar's judgment seat. There I ought to be judged. To the Jews I have done no wrong, as thou very well knowest. So Paul's saying, no, I'm not going to go to Jerusalem. I don't want to be killed. I'm going to go before Caesar. And after certain days, King Agrippa and Bernice came unto Caesarea. They were a sister and brother couple, incestuous, to salute Festus. And when they had been there many days, Festus declared Paul's cause to the king, saying, "There's a certain man left in bonds by Felix, about whom when I was at Jerusalem, the chief priests and the elders of the Jews informed me, desiring to have judgment against him. To whom I answered, It is not the manner of the Romans to deliver any man to die. Before that which he has accused, have the accusers face to face, and have license to answer for himself concerning the crime laid against him." What happened? So they're basically going back and forth. Paul's at the judgment seat. People want him to go to Jerusalem because they ultimately want him to be killed. And Paul's saying, nope, I'm going to stay here and have my trial like I ought to because I'm a Roman citizen and I have a right to a trial. And things that don't get settled in court, so to speak, go to Caesar. So then Agrippa and Festus, I don't know, would also hear the man himself tomorrow. He said, "Thou shalt hear him." And then Agrippa came the next day with his sister and wife, with great pomp, and was entered into the place of the hearing with chief captains. Great pomp means like a huge gathering, a showing. He's like a big celebrity. He's got all this power and fame, and he probably had all the bells and whistles that came with his entrance, right? He came with great pomp. And Festus said, "King Agrippa, and all men which are here present with us, ye see this man about whom all the multitude of the Jews have dealt with me, both at Jerusalem and also here, crying that he ought not to live any longer. But when I found that he had committed nothing worthy of death, and that he himself hath appealed to Augustus, I have determined to send him." So they're going to send him to Caesar. But what he's saying here is, "of whom I have no certain thing to write." So they need to write something down that Paul is being accused with, Augustus. You don't just send people to Caesar and have Caesar try to figure out what is wrong. They need like a definite accusation against him, but they really don't have one. So it says, "Of whom I have no certain things to write unto my Lord. Wherefore I have brought him forth before you, and especially before thee, O King Agrippa, that after examination had, I might have something to write." So Festus is saying, "Hey, Agrippa, what do I write on this thing? Because we have to send this appeal to Caesar. So will you see, O great Agrippa, what Paul is being accused of, so I have something to write down on this paper before I send him to Caesar? For it seemeth to me unreasonable to send a prisoner, and not withal to signify the crimes laid against him." So he needs something to write down. And then that ends today. We get to see on Agrippa's going to start talking to Paul. You can read ahead, obviously, right? It's the Bible. It's not a secret. But we will continue Acts 26 on Friday, okay? And we'll see what happens then. But I reckon to say, that's so creepy and cute. He made a girl with fingerprints, and he hung it on my wall, and then he made the little Kit Kat. Ouch, Joanna, you just pulled my hair out.